This is Marketing Jam, a podcast featuring the brightest minds in Canadian marketing.
I'm Leanne Gibson, and I'm the Managing Director at Twitter Canada.
Nice.
I've been at Twitter just over a year.
Very cool.
And I'm loving it. Twitter is what's happening every single day.
Awesome. So to start off, are you Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Okay. And tell me about apps right now that you're loving, that they're so amazing, and apps that you just can't live without, you're using on the daily.
Twitter, obviously.
Okay, Twitter, yes.
I love Twitter. It keeps me informed of what's happening every day. And outside of that, the apps I love are really utility-based.
Okay.
Right, my TD Bank app,
TD
the
Bank,
Weather
yeah.
Network.
Weather Network, okay.
Otherwise, I love to browse.
Okay, so your Chrome or
Chrome.
Safari?
Chrome.
You download, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then when you're on your phone, is there other apps that you're like, do you use like the Google Calendar, do you use the Apple Calendar, have you kept to kind of in the Google sphere? Or
I've kept to the Google sphere.
Okay.
I mean, corporately, we work with Google, so
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
attached to Google Mail,
Yes.
Google Calendar, so
Yeah.
it's intuitively now, it's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. And Periscope, do you end up Periscoping much?
Yes.
Okay. What are your favorite things to Periscope? Okay.
Truthfully,
Yeah.
things in my personal life, my children.
Yes, okay. Very cool.
I have 3 kids, so typically that is what I end up Periscoping.
Okay, that's very cool. So we're here at DX3, it's March 2018. We're looking forward the rest of the year. What do you see from your perspective, from Twitter Canada's perspective? What do you see as kind of the marketing trends for the rest of the year that you think are going to be popping up or happening? Or what someone
Marketing
could expect?
trends, from a Twitter perspective, what we're seeing is just a lot more innovation.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest opportunities at Twitter for brands, it starts with education.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Twitter,
Yeah.
everyone knows the Bluebird,
Yeah.
but in the workshop that I just did, it was really taking that to the next level. Okay, so I know Twitter, but how and when Twitter? How do I drive results? So it's a lot of education on our platform with our advertising partners, and where we're seeing a lot of results is brands that are willing to take risks, being creative and innovative on the platform, and then applying those learnings.
That's cool. Like Kentucky Fried Chicken, only followed 7 people, right? Being 3 guys named Herb and the Spice Girls, right? And stuff like that was just hilarious.
You have to start somewhere, and I was giving some great examples. We've done great work with McDonald's, National French Fry Day.
Yeah.
In 2016, we did a live Periscope for 2 hours watching French fries being made.
That's
Who
cool.
knew?
Yeah.
They built on that success last year in 2017 and had an incredible campaign that reached out of home. We had a billboard, a Yonge and Dundas Square, again, live tweets, periscoping French fries again.
Yeah.
And they own the conversation on National French Fry Day. So what starts as a small idea can lead to thought leadership and tremendous innovation.
Yeah. I've yet to find a better app or tool that works on driving conversations during an event or a live event or a conference. I've yet to see anything that's better. Like Instagram's not doing it. Facebook can't do it. YouTube can't do it.
No, well, that's Twitter at its best. And listen, every platform has their point of differentiation,
Of course,
but Twitter's at its best. Twitter's what's happening.
Yeah.
You want to know what's going on in the world, it's happening on Twitter.
Yeah. Trending topics.
Trending topics. If we look at a traffic chart, you'll see this baseline and then these spikes and like notable spikes. And those are events, things that are happening around the world. Whether it's sports, news and politics, entertainment, you can look at those spikes and correlate them with an event because people are surging to Twitter to join the conversation and see what's happening. And it's whether, a lot of our users don't tweet. They're there consuming and wanting to know what the conversation is, but others want to share it, be influential in it, and insert themselves and be part of that conversation.
That's very cool. So, and I don't know if you saw recently when the Kylie Jenner ended up tweeting about Snapchat and the effect it had on its stock. And again, the Ryan Holmes from Hootsuite wrote a book called, I think it was The $1 Billion Tweet, and the power that Twitter has to topple large corporations or affect their bottom line or value.
Absolutely, and it's Twitter's providing that platform for the conversation, and we talk a lot at Twitter about you see every side of a conversation. You might not like it.
Yeah.
You probably won't like every side, but it, again, a point of differentiation, when you have an open platform that encourages freedom of expression, while properly managing that from a safety and user perspective, it's incredible what unfolds in terms of conversation.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. I, with stories and Instagram coming up with being able to follow the hashtag, I've yet to see people willing to give out their Instagram feed for things that are happening at events. So even being here at DX3, you look at Twitter and it's just full of micro points and micro quotes and moments from the event Whereas you go to Instagram stories and or the feed, there's not as much stuff happening there because it's like, it's almost a cherished place for beautiful photos or...
It's different. Well, we talk about the mindset of a user. So a Twitter user is leaned in, curious, engaged, and it's about, look at this, I'm looking at this. And when we talk to brands, that's a great opportunity because you've got this receptivity to receive brand messaging. But if we think of other platforms, it's more look at me. My babies, my yearbook, my selfie. And so, you know, again, going back to conversation and events driven, that's why Twitter is at its best. Another way Twitter's at its best is Twitter for good. If we think of Me Too, Time's Up, last Sunday night at the Oscars, Twitter released our own campaign, Here We Are, and tomorrow's International Women's Day. So that is Twitter at its very best when you can, you know, allow that kind of social movement and conversation to just organically grow on the platform.
And tell me what's happening with, there's aggregators like, of course, Hootsuite and Sprout Social, and other groups that want to, you know, post live, you know, hashtag followings at events. Do you continue to see that at events where people are kind of aggregating hashtags from Twitter and posting what's happening live on a visual perspective?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, everyone's comfortable with a hashtag. I mean, it was born on Twitter almost 11 years ago. So, you know, absolutely.
Okay. Have you seen any really innovative things at events where they use the hashtag for posting kind of the live feeds and live communications and kind of conversations?
In terms of unique, it depends. I mean, I'm going back to a recent example, maybe the Olympics. You know, you have all the Olympic sponsors. We were fortunate enough to live stream the Olympics thanks to our partners at CBC for the opening and closing ceremonies and some key events. But some of the brands got really creative, you know, with the hashtags that just drew them into the Olympics, and it's an incredible experience because you're watching news, you're following the Olympics with the time change in Pyeongchang. As Canadians, you have the opportunity to wake up and while you were sleeping, hashtag this happened. And so great opportunity for brands to insert themselves and be creative, but also athletes. A lot of our Canadian athletes are very active on Twitter, so if you chose to follow them, you had that one-on-one dialogue. And again, just an opportunity to be very creative in conversation. Really cool. You know, I don't know Mark McMorris, but I had a conversation and congratulated him every time he was competing. So that's kind of unique about Twitter.
That's amazing. And tell me for yourself, in the position that you're in now, and someone who's watching the show now and watching it listening to it on the podcast, how do they get to be where you are now? How do they get to be in a position like, you know, that you've achieved?
I would say my journey has been working hard, but more than working hard, it's been learning. Always open to feedback. And you can say, oh, please give me feedback. We don't all want feedback. But if you truly take the feedback that's given to you and you apply it and continue to reiterate and grow and develop, that's how I have gotten to where I am.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Do you have a book that you'd recommend to someone out there, that book that maybe you've read or that you're reading at the moment?
I love a lot of self-development books. So I'm just about to start one called Principles by Ray Dalio. Anything that can give me motivation, guidance, those little nuggets. Sometimes it's just the little nuggets of learning that you want. That motivates me.
Okay, very cool. And podcasts that you listen to, or magazines or blogs you follow?
I actually don't listen to podcasts. And actually, I don't watch. I think I might be the only person I know that doesn't watch television. And that might be strange. But the way I no.
Okay, Prime, Amazon Prime? Nothing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Movies?
This Is Us. That's maybe one show. I like that show. It's a great show. Movies some of the time. I saw 3 Billboards. I thought that was incredible. She's amazing. Glad she got the Oscar. The way I look at it, we have a certain amount of time. And so I have a very demanding job. I have 3 young kids. I like to run. I'm a marathon runner. So you start, I think we always, without realizing it, we make choices. When we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else, even though we don't realize that. So for me, my running is my outlet. So I put on music and I'll almost plan ahead of time. I'm going to go for a run. And when I run, I'm going to think about this and this.
That's cool. And Spotify or iTunes?
iTunes,
yeah.
Apple all the way. And that's sort of my time to work through things, whether it's personal, whether it's something in a work environment, and just to have that time. I love it. So instead of podcasts and television, it's just getting clarity. Because working in the industry that we do, we're constantly being bombarded by information.
Very cool. So a lot of people who work in agencies and ad buyers listen to the show. What would you say to them who are considering, they've got an ad spend for their client, and they've traditionally done it on Google, and they're spending more on Facebook these days. Why spend it on Twitter? And what are the advantages, and what are some of the cool things that you can do with ad spends on Twitter at the moment?
Sure, and that's a good question, because a lot of the work that we do at Twitter is educating.
Yeah.
Our advertising agencies and our clients, because sometimes we get caught on this, I'm on Facebook and we're good. And with Twitter, it's really understanding why Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter is what's happening. How do you take a brand and insert it in the conversation? Yeah. And we sort of bubble up 3 learnings. If you're a brand, if you want to launch something, if you want to be part of a conversation or promote your brand, here are the opportunities on Twitter. Yeah. So it's really taking the time to learn and be educated on when and how Twitter. Yeah. Because when you do it right, it's extremely powerful. Yeah. Again, it's going back to every platform has its value and its differentiator. Yeah. Ours is, those 3 objectives, and then it's our users. We talked about users are leaning in, that discovery mindset. You've got an open, receptive user who's willing to hear your brand message. And that's really valuable.
That's amazing. How often are you tweeting a day? What does it look like for you?
For me, I probably tweet, sometimes I might tweet 5 times a day, sometimes I meet twice a day, I might miss a day. But what's interesting about our platform is not everybody tweets.
Yeah, because the verb to tweet is can I say if I just go in and scan the Twitter channels, is that still tweeting? Or you're only tweeting when you're actually
You're only tweeting when you're actually putting something out onto the platform.
Okay.
And so I think a lot of users and people who aren't on our platform and who might be intimidated think, well, I've got to have a novel tweet. And you don't. There's the majority of our users aren't necessarily tweeting.
They're retweeting?
They're consuming content, not tweeting at all. If you go into the App Store, we're not under social, we're actually under news.
Oh, that's a big...
It's very big.
Would you consider yourself a news channel versus a social channel?
Yes.
Wow, you heard that here, people? Twitter is a news channel, not a social media channel.
That's right, and that's why we have so many people not necessarily tweeting. Tweeting is great, but if you want to be consuming content, most of our users are. And again, whether it's sports, news, entertainment, politics, that's where a lot of the conversation is on Twitter. And it's also motivating us to be working with partners in market. We work a lot with CBC, Rogers, Bell, Chorus, because we want to continue to be bringing premium content onto the platform, knowing our users are consuming it.
And what I'm finding, there's been this huge kind of exodus of news producers and news stations leaving Facebook because of the new change in the algorithm in the last month. Are you seeing a rise of news stations and news outlets being on Twitter even more, or are they're just the same and just as strong and robust?
They're very strong and robust, and we have a unique partnership. If I think of the Olympics as the example with CBC, so we were live streaming opening and closing ceremonies, key events, but we also had thousands of video clips. So it's a great partnership between CBC and Twitter. Something that's very interesting that we did last year is we partnered with Bloomberg. So we stream 24/7 Bloomberg content on Twitter. It's called TikTok. And the value there, Twitter has the premium content from Bloomberg, but the value to Bloomberg is speed to market. So when we work with these publishers, it's a beautiful relationship because often the news comes to Twitter for the news. If you think of maybe being home at the end of a workday and you've got the television on and maybe the news is on, if you think the news is often sourcing Twitter. Politics is a great example. We've got the PC Ontario election. You've got a lot of those candidates announcing that they're running on Twitter.
Or that country to the south of us with that president that we can remain nameless.
This is
Stuff
so
happens on Twitter.
It's a platform.
So for us, like just looking at Marketing Jam, for example, or any sort of marketing news that we want to get out there, we should almost be live periscoping that and producing that content for Twitter, because it's a news channel and a news feed for folks that want news and what's now and what's in the current.
Absolutely it is. And we do a lot of live videos. So obviously there's user-generated content via Periscope, but again, it's that premium live video that we're going to continue to invest in with our partners to bring to our users.
That's amazing. What is your best advice for someone who goes to a conference like DX3 that we're at right now, and other conferences coming up, CIMC, I know Michelle Slater's going to be there from Twitter Canada as well. What would you advise them to do for a Twitter strategy, or just when they're on Twitter at an event? What could you encourage them with, or just a little tip from Twitter?
A little tip from Twitter is to lean in.
Okay.
When you go to these conferences, there's a lot of conversation on Twitter.
Yeah.
So number one, you want to participate. So, consume the content, tweet, reach out to someone.
Yeah.
It's unique on Twitter, but you can reach out to someone you don't know and start a dialogue and network.
Yeah.
Get your conversation going on and off the platform.
That's awesome.
Because it's an opportunity for all of us.
Yeah. This has been amazing. This has been a great learning experience for me, and just again hearing from Twitter, I say the bird themselves, straight from the bird's mouth. Is that? Can we say that straight from the bluebird's mouth?
Yes, you can.
In the kindest, most respectful of ways. Thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Pleasure.
Twitter, you've been with us for ages. You have opened up a lot of doors and seen a lot of historic moments happen in life and in this world. I remember the moment when Twitter was the first to report on a plane crash just outside New York.
On the Hudson River.
Yeah,
That's right.
And that was the thing we're saying, like,
I think that was 2009.
yeah, and someone announced, like, Twitter is the breaking news place to go to. And now it's nice to hear you affirm the fact that, you don't see yourselves as just some social place. It's a news
It is a
aggregator
news, and there's so much momentum at Twitter, and it really started happening. In the last 18 months, Twitter's almost 12 years old, or is 12 years old, and we hired our first CMO, Leslie Berlin.
Yeah.
And mission number one is create clarity
Yeah.
for consumers. What is Twitter?
Yeah, no,
What is
this
Twitter?
is helpful
'Cause
for marketing directors.
everyone knows the Bluebird, but
Yeah.
what is Twitter? And that's where we really crystallized Twitter is what's happening. You want to know what's going on in the world? It's happening on Twitter.
That's amazing. Do you ever interact with like the founders out of New York and kind of the origin folks, or do you end up staying in the Canadian
Absolutely.
office more so? Okay.
We're a pretty small company, and our headquarters is still in San Francisco.
Okay.
And our CEO, who's the founder, Jack Dorsey,
Yeah.
he's incredible. And what I love about Twitter is it is a product-led organization.
Okay.
So while we continue to build the business and work with our advertising partners, at the heart and soul is preservation and development of the product.
Awesome.
And that's really done in two ways. One, product features and making it easy for you as a user to know how to use Twitter and create simplification. But also, we talk a lot about the health of our platform, and that's user safety and quality of information. And I think one of the best things we've done is be really transparent about the work we need to do and where we've had wins.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can speak to this, but the product called Jelly. Did you see that project?
No.
That I think it was Jack who started it, Jack Dorsey, and a little side project called Jelly, which was a service supposed to answer questions.
No,
Okay,
I can't speak to it.
That's okay. Yeah, it was a side project a couple years ago. I don't know what happened to it since, but he ended up buying up all the jelly.com and .ca and domain names out there. And so I'm always wanted to figure out like if those will ever become available.
Yeah, I do not know.
Okay, that's okay. One day we'll find out.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah. This has been incredible. Did you have a good day at DX3?
It's great. It's great to meet other people and hear what's going on with other people. And I think we all benefit from learning. There's a lot of organizations here that have been long-standing organizations, and then you've got all the startups. And I just think it's really interesting. Somewhere in the middle of all of this is an answer for many of us.
And Twitter swag, do you guys give any swag away right now, or is kind of you don't need to do swag anymore? You kind of taking a break from the swag game?
We have great swag.
Really?
You can just have so much fun with the Bluebird.
Yeah. So what kind of swag are we talking about here?
We like wardrobe. We like attire.
Okay.
We've got some great, we're working with Adidas.
Wow.
We've got some pretty great swag with Adidas. We're working with Roots. We've got some great swag with Roots.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And what everyone loves? Those little, what are they called? You put them on the back of your phones.
Yeah. People are loving those right now. Yeah.
We've got those with the Bluebird on it.
With the Bluebird, okay. Okay, well, I'll have to give you some jelly after this,
Yeah.
and we can do some swag trading. Cool. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.